DÉSIRÉE by Anne-Marie Selinko. The simplified story is based directly on the novel DÉSIRÉE by Anne-Marie Selinko, but rewritten in very easy English for beginner learners. Part 1. The Girl from Marseille. My name is Désirée Clary. I was born in Marseille, a city in France. My family owned a silk shop. We sold silk for dresses. We worked hard. We were not poor, but not rich. I had an older sister. Her name was Julie. Julie was kind and smart. Many men liked her. One day, Julie met a man named Joseph Bonaparte. Joseph was quiet and polite. He was not rich, but he had big dreams. Julie and Joseph fell in love. They got married. Joseph had a younger brother. His name was Napoleon. Napoleon was very different. He talked a lot. He had strong eyes. He wanted to change the world. Napoleon came to our house. He saw me. I was only 14 years old. He was 25. He said, "You are young, but you are clever." We walked in the garden. He told me about his plans. He wanted to be a great man. I listened. I smiled. I liked him. Weeks passed. Napoleon visited often. He gave me flowers. He said, "I want to marry you." I was surprised. But I said, "Yes." I told my family. They were happy. Julie said, "He will be someone important." But one day, Napoleon left for Paris. He said, "I must go and work for France." He promised to write letters. At first, he wrote every week. "Dear Désirée," he said, "I miss you." But after some time, the letters stopped. I waited. I wrote to him. He did not answer. One day, I read the news. Napoleon Bonaparte will marry Josephine. I could not believe it. He left me. He forgot me. My heart was broken. I was 15 years old. Alone. Sad. But my life was not over. Many things were still to come. Vocabulary. Silk, soft, shiny fabric used for clothes. Polite, nice, with good manners. Marry, to become someone's husband or wife. Letters, written messages sent in the mail. Broken heart, very sad because of lost love. Comprehension questions. What does Désirée's family do for work? Who does her sister Julie marry? How does Désirée feel about Napoleon? What happens to Napoleon in Paris? How does Désirée feel at the end of this part? Part 2: A New Beginning. Napoleon was gone. He married Josephine. I was not his choice. I cried many days. I stayed home. I felt small. But time passed. I was now 17. I helped in the silk shop. I smiled again, a little. One day, my brother-in-law, Joseph Bonaparte, said, "There is a general who wants to meet you." I asked, "Who is he?" Joseph said, "His name is Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte. He is a soldier, a strong man." I was afraid. I did not want to love again. But I said, Okay, I will meet him. We met in our garden. He looked serious, but kind. He smiled. I smiled too. We talked. He asked about my family. He asked what I liked. I said, I like music. I like to walk by the sea. He said, I like peace. I don't like war, but I fight to protect France. We met again. And again. He gave me a red rose. He said, this rose is for your heart. After some weeks, he said, Désirée, will you be my wife? I looked at him. He was honest. He was strong. He was not like Napoleon. I said, yes, I will. My family was happy. Julie said, he is a good man. We had a small wedding. There was music and flowers. I wore a blue dress. Jean-Baptiste kissed my hand. He said, we will have a good life. But soon, war came again. He had to go. He said, I will write to you. This time, I believed him. And he did write. Every week. Vocabulary. Protect to keep safe. Peace, no war, no fighting. Soldier, a person who fights for their country. Rose, a red flower that means love. Wedding, the event where two people get married. Comprehension questions. Who does Désirée meet after Napoleon? What kind of man is Jean-Baptiste? What flower does he give to Désirée? What does Jean-Baptiste promise to do during the war? How is he different from Napoleon? Part 3, Life with a General. Now I was married. My name was Désirée Bernadotte. I was the wife of a French general. Jean-Baptiste was not home much. He was in the army. He traveled often. There were many wars in Europe. But he wrote to me every week. He said, I miss you. He said, you are in my heart. I stayed in Paris. I waited. I visited my sister Julie. We talked and drank tea. I read the newspapers. Napoleon was winning battles. He was now the ruler of France. People said, Napoleon is emperor. He wore a crown. He had power. But I was not jealous. I was not angry. I was happy with Jean-Baptiste. He was kind and honest. He did not want power. He wanted peace. One day, Jean-Baptiste came home. He had good news. He said, Désirée, we have a son. I cried happy tears. Our baby was healthy. We named him Oscar. He had dark hair and small hands. I held him close. He was my joy. Jean-Baptiste kissed me. He said, you are strong. You are brave. But the war did not stop. Napoleon wanted to rule more lands. He fought in Spain. He fought in Russia. Jean-Baptiste did not always agree. He said, this is too much. He wanted to leave the war. Napoleon was not happy. He did not like anyone who said, no. We were afraid. But we stayed quiet. We loved our son. We stayed a family. Vocabulary. General, a high leader in the army. Ruler, a person who controls a country. Emperor, a king of many lands. Battle, a fight in war. Honest, someone who tells the truth. Comprehension questions. What is Désirée's new last name after marriage? What is the name of her son? What kind of man is Jean-Baptiste? How does Napoleon change in this part of the story? What does Jean-Baptiste think about Napoleon's wars? Part 4. A new country, Sweden. Our life in France was not quiet. There was always war. Napoleon was emperor. But many people in Europe were tired of fighting. My husband, Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, was a good general. He was brave. He was smart. But he did not always agree with Napoleon. One day, a man came to our house. He had strange news. He said, "Sweden wants your husband." "Sweden?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "The king of Sweden has no son. He is old and sick. The people want a strong leader. They choose your husband." I could not believe it. Sweden wants Jean-Baptiste to be king? Yes, the man said. Crown Prince of Sweden. My husband was surprised too. He said, "This is not just for me. This is for you, for our son." I was afraid. Sweden was far away. It was cold. It was not France. I said, "I don't want to leave." He said, "You don't have to come now. Stay in Paris. Take care of Oscar." So he went to Sweden. He became Crown Prince Bernadotte. The people liked him. He was kind. He listened. He wanted peace, not war. He wrote to me from Stockholm. "It is cold here, but the people are warm," he said. He missed me. I missed him too. Years passed. Oscar grew up. He was tall and gentle. One day, Jean-Baptiste sent a letter. He said, "Come to Sweden. Bring our son. It is time." I was nervous. Paris was my home. But I wanted my family together. So I packed my things. I kissed my sister goodbye. And I left for Sweden. Vocabulary. Crown Prince, the son or chosen man who will be king. Royalty, kings, queens, princes, princesses. Stockholm, the capital city of Sweden. Far away, not close, in the distance. Nervous, worried or unsure. Comprehension questions. Why did Sweden want Jean-Baptiste? What new title does he get? Does Désirée go to Sweden right away? What does Jean-Baptiste say about Sweden? How does Désirée feel about leaving Paris? Part 5. Queen of Sweden. I arrived in Sweden. It was cold. There was snow on the ground. The sky was gray. But people smiled at me. They said, "Welcome, Princess Désirée." I was not used to that. In France, I was just Désirée. Now I was the wife of the crown prince. Soon, I would be queen. I wore long dresses. I had to learn new rules. I had to walk in a certain way. I had to sit and speak like royalty. But inside, I was still me. A girl from Marseille. I missed my city. I missed the sea. I missed French food and language. Sometimes I felt lonely. I did not speak Swedish well. I stayed in my room. I wrote letters to my sister Julie. Jean-Baptiste, now called Prince Carl Johan, was busy. He worked hard. He was kind to the people. He wanted Sweden to be strong and free. Oscar, our son, was now a young man. He spoke Swedish very well. He loved Sweden. He said, "Mother, this is my home now." I smiled. I knew it was true. We were no longer French. We were Swedish now. In 1818, the old king died. My husband became King Carl Johan, and I became Queen Désirée of Sweden. I stood by his side. People clapped. Music played. I wore a crown. I thought, how strange life is. I once loved Napoleon. He became emperor. But he lost everything. I married Jean-Baptiste. He became king. And I became queen. But for me, love was more important than power. Final words. I lived many years in Sweden. I learned the language. I became part of the people. I watched Oscar become king after his father. I was no longer just a girl from a silk shop. I was a mother, a wife, a queen. But in my heart, I was always Désirée. Vocabulary. Royalty, kings and queens. Crown, the gold hat of a king or queen. Lonely, feeling alone or sad. Queen, a woman ruler or wife of a king. Strange, not normal, unusual. Comprehension questions. How did Désirée feel in Sweden at first? What was her husband's new name? What title did Désirée get in 1818? Why did she feel life was strange? What was most important to Désirée, power or love?